path he took as an adult, his extraordinary success with history's most successful pop group underscores how remarkable it was that he took to a spiritual path at all. It was clear to me after conducting a number of interviews that George's simple virtues were more important to people than his inner complexities. What people remembered about him was his external life. Everyone interviewed talked about his selfless and generous nature, and hardly anyone talked about his theology. He was a spiritual doer. People liked that about him. In the past, developing an inner life meant retreating into mountains or caves to escape the world's distractions. In his later years, George did want that kind of retreat for himself, yet he remained active and used his fame and resources to serve others. That was innovative behavior for someone on a spiritual path in those days, and it helped redefine holy people as individuals deeply engaged in the world they long to transcend. Sadly, his efforts to get a message through, as he sang in Living in the Material World, were not always well received. Critics panned him, claiming he was exploiting his Beatles fame to preach about God. The record-buying public deserted him, fans invaded his home, some even physically attacked him and his family. George desperately wanted to help the world. Eventually, he wanted just as much to leave it behind forever. Of the many books George studied on his spiritual journey, one he found most helpful was Hinduism's principal text, the Bhagavad Gita, Song of the Supreme. The Gita is a call to action in which the speaker, Krishna, the Sanskrit name for God, instructs his warrior disciple Arjuna on the eve of a great battle in about 3000 BC. Arjuna's efforts to reclaim his family's kingdom from the hands of usurpers have failed, and war is inevitable. Krishna encourages Arjuna to follow his duty and fight the aggressors, but the compassionate warrior prefers to retreat and meditate. To inspire him to action, Krishna describes 5 basic truths of traditional Indian belief: the immortality of the soul, the impermanence of the material world, the influence of time, the relationship of the soul to God, and active devotion as the highest path. Arjuna accepts Krishna's challenge to stand and fight, and the battle is waged and won. In her preface to a tribute published shortly after George's death, Olivia Harrison compared her late husband to Arjuna, saying that George faced his own battles with similar spiritual courage and unwavering conviction. All practicing Hindus honor the Bhagavad Gita, even though Krishna never describes himself as Hindu. Nor did George, who from an early age looked askance at organized religion. His spiritual passion grew from what the Gita calls the most secret of all secrets, knowledge that the soul lives on after leaving its physical body. If prepared by a life of devotion, a soul can come face to face with the divine. Here is the story of a man who gave up one of the most spectacular careers in entertainment history for that goal of seeing God face to face, and who succeeded beyond his greatest expectations. The soundtrack of his spiritual journey begins with the explosions of battle and ends 58 years later with the harmonies of eternal peace. And like all good stories, this one starts when the hero was just a child. 1. Beginnings. Before there was anything, there was the One. When the universe came into being, the One became many. Rig Veda. Years later, looking back, George Harrison found it strange that his soul entered his mother's womb in Liverpool in 1943 amid the sounds of battle, air raid sirens, German bomb attacks, English Spitfires shrieking by overhead, racing to meet enemy planes, and wondered